One common myth is that ignoring a fine could see it just magically disappear. Make the mistake of applying this to a speeding ticket, however, and it could cost you thousands, or worse, it could even cost you your freedom. Speeding tickets can get very expensive. Just how far over the speed limit you were driving, along with your weekly income, is usually what's used to determine how much your fine will be. The greater the speed, the greater the percentage of your weekly income that you'll be fined, as well as racking up a greater amount of penalty points onto your licence. In the UK, speeding fines are capped at £2,500 on motorways and £1,000 on other roads. Speeding fines are based on a percentage of your weekly income, meaning two people can be fined two different amounts for the same type of speeding offence. Some of the worst speeding offences can cost up to 700% of your weekly income without exceeding those caps. You won't know for certain if a mobile speed camera caught you until the registered keeper of the vehicle receives a notice of intended prosecution. This is part of the process for being issued with a speeding ticket, or to give it its proper name, a fixed penalty notice. The process requires that you're first issued with that notice of intended prosecution, or NIP. If you're pulled over by a police officer for speeding, then they can make a note of who the driver is and give you the NIP verbally. But if you're caught by a camera, then whoever's the registered vehicle owner will receive the NIP through the post. Included will be a Section 172 notice to fill out and return. The vehicle owner uses this to inform the police who was driving at the time. The vehicle owner is legally obliged to return the Section 172 form within 28 days. If you ignore an NIP and don't return that form, you'll be summoned to a magistrate court for failing to comply, as well as for the original speeding offence. The court could then fine you up to £1,000, add up to 6 penalty points to your licence, or even disqualify you from driving altogether. So in short, you must not ignore an NIP. Unless you were given a verbal NIP by a police officer who pulled you over, then the registered vehicle keeper must receive that NIP through the post from the police within 14 days from the date of the alleged speeding offence. Once you've returned the NIP with your correct details, then there's a second time limit that the police need to adhere to. They only have 6 months to issue you the actual fine or the fixed penalty notice. Even if they're late getting the penalty notice to you, don't ignore it. You need to respond by letting the authorities know that the fixed penalty notice was late and that you don't feel that it was valid, or they'll just proceed with legal action against you. If you don't respond to a fixed penalty notice for speeding within 28 days of receiving it, the case can then be passed to a magistrate's court. The court will send you out a letter as an opportunity to own up to ignoring your speeding ticket, and you'll have to accept an even greater fine and pay a court fee. If you don't admit guilt when this letter arrives, then further legal action will be made against you, and a warrant for your arrest could even be issued. If you don't accept the fine and penalty points, you can challenge a speeding ticket in court. However, it can be difficult to win these cases because you only need to be proven to have exceeded the speed limit briefly. And don't think the old movie cliche, "my wife was in labour" line is going to cut it. As a regular citizen in a regular vehicle, speeding is always going to be considered an offence. The only likely way that you can win a speeding ticket challenge is if you weren't the driver, if your car had been stolen, or if your vehicle was mistakenly identified as speeding. In these circumstances, you may find that a speed camera photo which shows that you weren't the driver, or that someone else was using your registration on another car, this could be a very helpful photo indeed. In some circumstances, you may be able to argue that there was no legal notice of the speed limit on the road. However, recent campaigns like Streetlights Mean 30 are making these excuses much harder to use. And be warned, an unsuccessful speeding fine challenge is likely to result in an even bigger fine. If you want to challenge a ticket, or you're worried that a fine is about to land you in trouble, then a popular option is to consult a solicitor for help. There's many online solicitors that work out cheaper and easier than meeting in person. JustAnswer, for example, only costs £5 for a trial. One of my colleagues saved over £270 on a parking ticket by using their service. I've linked that offer down in the description, and if you use that, you'll also be supporting Money Nerd, so thank you.